A high-stakes week ahead in Congress as the full January 6th report will be released in the coming days. And Congress looks to pass a massive funding bill to prevent a government shutdown. Here to discuss it all is Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report with Amy Walter and Annie Linskey of the Wall Street Journal. Tamara Keith is away. Hello to both of you. It's so good to see you on this Monday. Thank you for being here. So, as we've been discussing in the program, Amy and Annie, major report today by the January 6th committee, criminal referrals, former President Trump, 4 significant charges. Amy, we talked about the legal implications of this and some of the political, but from a political standpoint, what does this mean, not just for Donald Trump, but for the two parties?
Right. I mean, I think we can look at it 2 ways. One is to assess what impact this is going to have in terms of, will it be successful if the Ethics Committee does bring those 4 congressmen and investigate them, actually follows through on that? Will it be a success if the Department of Justice actually follows the recommendation of the committee and indicts the president? Or we can look at it this way, which is to say, even if those things don't happen, what impact did the January 6th hearings have? And the more that you talk to strategists, especially Democrats, some of whom, to both of us, were pretty concerned that the January 6th hearings weren't moving voters. This idea about saving democracy wasn't really as critical of an issue. It's pretty clear that this was both a motivating factor for Democrats at the polls, that candidates who lost this year, Republican candidates who lost, were all the candidates who associated with Donald Trump and election denial, and that even talking to a strategist right before I came on, the impact it had in those last 30 or 60 days of the election on independent voters who really did see this idea of preventing something like a January 6th and not wanting to see candidates who embraced this kind of chaos and denialism finding their way into Congress.
Annie, how do you see the political ramifications from the repercussions?
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I certainly agree with that analysis, Amy. And I think, of course, Donald Trump has been a very polarizing figure in our politics, to put it lightly. And there are many people, who would like him to go away. And they are looking to this report and looking to each one of these steps as to, is this going to be finally the thing? But I think, when you talk
When you say people, you mean Republicans.
There's an anti-Trump, sort of a never-Trump wing of the Republican Party that would very much like him to go away. There's certainly within the Democratic Party, there's a strong desire to move on from Trump, but absolutely within the Republican Party as well. And they look to these things, is it going to be an impeachment? Is it going to be a criminal referral? What could it be, the Department of Justice? And I think that, talking to strategists, it really in this country, it is voters that make this decision. And Donald Trump has essentially been on the ballot for the last 4 elections in this country. He won in 2016, 2018 midterms, Democrats did well. 2020, Donald Trump loses to Joe Biden, and these most recent midterms, you saw a similar result where Democrats did much better. So Republicans are looking at that, and so are Democrats. And this January 6th committee certainly has played into that atmosphere that permitted and allowed that to happen in the last most recent election. But if he's on the ballot again, it is going to be Republican voters in a primary that would determine be the ones.
I mean, that's the thing we've talked about this so often about this era that we're living in, that the January 6th hearings did not change many people's minds. I mean, the minds were made up long before those hearings began, and during the election, they didn't change much either. We are this country that is, the idea of getting anything more than 51 or 52% support for anything is almost impossible now. And that this issue mattered in states like Arizona and Nevada and Georgia, but in states like Ohio or Florida, it didn't, North Carolina, it didn't have the same resonance. So we're living in this, we are a 51, 50, whatever we are country where these issues are going to have incredible resonance in some places, and in others, this is not going to be a topic that is going to move voters to work against Donald Trump's benefit.
And just in brief, speaking of division, Congress very divided as they have big votes to make this week, to take this week. Annie, the big spending bill, the so-called omnibus, terrible name
It is a
for it.
terrible name. It is a terrible name.
But I mean, are we looking to anything in the next few days that tell you where we're going to end up? I mean, they've extended what is it, funding through Christmas Day? I mean,
Yes.
the 2 days before Christmas.
No
that's it.
accident, no accident. I think, deadlines focus people, and members of Congress are no different. There certainly are final things being hammered out, but my reporting is not showing that we're expecting, a Grinch to steal Christmas this year, that these final things really are just final bits, and there'll be a vote and everybody will go home.
And it'll be over. And the one thing that it looks like will be attached in this omnibus is reforming the Electoral Count Act, which was something that was also recommended by the January 6th Commission, so that we don't have the debate any longer about the role that the vice president can play in determining which electoral votes are valid and which ones aren't.
So this is the week, or a week of holiday spirit.
It is.
To both of you, whether people are celebrating Christmas or Hanukkah or another holiday. I wanted to just conclude this conversation by asking both of you about what gift you think should be given to, I don't know, a particular politician, or what would you like to see the parties get? What are you thinking right now, Amy?
Okay, we're going to start with me. I mean, what I want is very different from maybe what other people would like to see. I think we learned this election, and maybe we've learned from a series of elections, if we're going to reform the system, if we want a different kind of person to come to Washington or to be in elected office, it's not going to, there's not one answer, there's not one silver bullet. But I do think that putting under my tree, I would like to see more ranked choice voting be implemented across the country so that we can see the kind of candidate who needs to put together a coalition to win a ranked choice voting means you can't rely just on your hardcore base. You gotta have a little more diversity.
And you got to spend time on that ballot.
Gotta spend time on that ballot.
Annie, so what are you thinking about gifts?
All right. Well, I was thinking that's a wonderful answer, and I was saying that I just in the last, 3 or 4 election cycles that I have gone through, they have been so difficult that the gift that I both wish I could give and wish I could get would be a crystal ball, and I've been wanting that crystal ball, and it just hasn't come my way.
So just you would know the answer?
Just I would know the answer and not be, make the mistakes I have made in the past.
We're all humble. When it comes to predictions,
right.
we're all humble.
But failing that, I would say if anybody is looking for a gift, I would say a newspaper subscription. It doesn't need to be the Wall Street Journal. It could be the New York Times, the Washington Post, or your local paper. But
or your local paper, and we wish the best for local journalism.
Yeah,
All
that's
of
we
it,
do.
That's right.
Don't we? That's a very good one. All right, Annie Linskey, Amy Walter, thank you both, and happy holidays.
You're welcome.
To both of you.
Thank you.